Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode of Season 3 of the Rule 34 podcast. I'm Jack, joined by
Dominic Castillo.
And Giovanni.
Alright, so we are back here today. It is Tuesday. How have you all been?
I have been pretty okay. Life has been pretty slow at the moment. I'm still sick, unfortunately. However, the time passes and Christmas has come, and now it's gone. But personally, for me, Christmas went pretty smooth. It wasn't so bad. I was able to give gifts to my parents and my brother. I was gifted a pair of socks and a shirt. Honestly, I actually kind of needed those socks, so it was all good at the end. Nothing much else is going on. Still no updates yet with if we're working, Gio and I, anytime soon, because it's still holidays and it's taking a bit of effect on me a little bit, considering it's kind of weird not having school and work just there. Usually before before this semester ending, I would have to either worry about work or school or both at the same time. But now, I literally can't do anything because I could just apply to a second job, but it is what it is. Everything went pretty fine. Family's happy. Other family members are also happy as well. And yeah, it's pretty smooth. A nice Christmas, man. How have you guys been?
For me, Christmas went well as well, kind of. It was going well, pretty good. Everyone was, we had people over. My grandma's here from Mexico. My uncle came in from Santa Ana, I think. And my other uncle came in too with his two little kids. It was going well, but then my mom, towards the end of the night, she's like, "Oh, I'm not feeling too well. I'm gonna go to bed early." And then the next morning, she woke up really bad. And then my dad did a COVID test on her, and it came back positive. And then she did another test, and it came back positive. And then she went to the hospital in the morning, around 5, and they told her that she does have COVID, and it's not just false positives. So she's in quarantine right now in her room. So up until that point, it was like I'm not worried because my mom's vaccinated, and then she's pretty healthy otherwise, so she should be fine. She shouldn't be in any danger. But it was kind of like a weird turn that happened on Christmas. But besides that, before that, everyone really enjoyed the gifts I gave them. My mom really liked the wallet that I bought her. What else? Oh, my brother really liked the Lego set that I got him. I was kind of worried about that one because, it's Legos. He's 23. So it's I'm not sure if he's really going to be up to, building it and stuff. So, but he really did like it. He started building it the morning of Christmas. And he's pretty much almost done with it. He just needs to stand. What else happened? Oh, speaking of work, it's kind of, I do feel what Dominic is feeling, but it's kind of nice being home, being able to play games all day. Have you guys played Cyberpunk? I don't know.
Yes.
I've been playing a lot of Cyberpunk lately. I really like the game so far. I like the combat system, I like the weapons, I like the, just a lot of things in the game. What about you, Jack? How you been, man?
I've been doing... Whoops, there we go. I've been doing pretty well. Christmas, I just spent time with the family, as always. I finally showed my dad basically this cinematic cut of BioShock, because I knew it's not really his type of game, especially because of all the camera movement and all that. So I just decided to show him this cinematic cut of the game with all the different like cutscenes and sort of notable voice lines and all that, just so he could get the full story of it all, you know, and get, you know, that experience, you know, because I've pretty much said on here on this podcast a lot. BioShock is probably one of my favorite games of all time, and the first game is one of my favorite stories of all time. So he got to watch that. We watched the second Knives Out movie, Glass Onion, which was pretty good. After rewatching the first one, I think the first one is still a bit better just because of a lot of its... I don't know, there was a lot about it that I liked. Not necessarily more. They were both really great movies. But the first one, there was just a bit more to it that I liked, especially because of, like... Probably if I rewatch the second one, I'll catch it like I did with the first one. But when you rewatch the first one, it's like you catch so much of the stuff, like, early on. Or, like, you catch stuff that you missed through initial watch, which is the same thing that happened when I was showing my dad the BioShock thing, where I was catching stuff that I didn't catch on my first or even second playthrough of the game. So I was like, wow, maybe I need to go back and replay this again to see even more stuff that I may have missed. Other than that, I started playing Pokemon Violet to finally start progressing through. I restarted it and chose the starter I actually wanted to use this time. I got another shiny, which is crazy because I haven't had good shiny luck in any Pokemon games. I did hear something about the rates being boosted in this game, but I still found it pretty funny. Other than that, Christmas went well. My brother got me a really cool Linkin Park poster. My dad got me PlayStation cards and a figure of the late great Brody Lee, which was real nice. If many people don't know about that man, you should really look into a lot of his interviews because he was just a really great guy. And in the wrestling industry, you get a lot of terrible people, but he's one of those few that, like, you've never heard a single bad story about the guy. And his interview when he was talking about his son is always one of my favorites because he talks about just simply wanting to be as great a father as his father was to him. What else happened on Christmas? Well, it didn't happen on Christmas, but as a little bit of a gift to myself, I guess you could say. And so the whole story was, we went on Wednesday. On Thursday, I went with another friend and a couple friends to go shopping because he needed to do a ton of Christmas shopping for his family. And we stopped at the Vans store, and One Piece did a collab with Vans, and I knew one of my other friends wanted the shoes, so I was like, oh, do you want me to see if they have your size for you? I can get it for you and all that. And he was like, yeah, check. And they had 5 different versions of One Piece shoes, and none of them were in his size, which kind of sucked. But then we found the Nico Robin ones, and they were like, oh yeah, we have a size 12. And I was like, I don't know if I want to get these. I don't know if I want to spend the money. And all my friends were like, dude, screw it. Just do it. Like, and all that. And so I caved in, got these One Piece shoes, and that was sort of my gift to myself, as well as a Pokemon hoodie. But that's how Christmas and kind of the past couple of days have gone. Pretty good stuff, you know?
Yeah.
Do you want to share our Overwatch experience yesterday?
Our Overwatch experience yesterday. Pretty terrible. We ran into two cheaters.
Wait, legitimate?
Yeah.
There was we were, like, as soon as it started, there was, like, a tracer on the other team that was just going ham. And then I was like, okay, this is kind of like, I want to watch the kill feed to see if this guy's actually legit. And then I saw him just, like, toggling his aimbot. And I was like, dude, this guy's cheating. And then everyone was like, dude, just because he's good doesn't mean, you know? It's like, no, next time you die to him, to the tracer, look at the kill feed. And then Woody's like, yeah, this guy's actually cheating. And then we were talking about it, like, in game chat. Yo, like, you're not hiding it well. And then the guy has the audacity, oh, is our Lucio cheating? It's like, bro, you're not.
Oh.
He's trying to be slick, but he's just dumb. And then after towards the end of the match, it turns out like the Bastion on their team was also toggling. So yeah, it was 2 cheaters in one game. And then our teammate at the end, because we were playing, it was a 4-stack. Our teammate at the end, he was like, y'all suck. Which I thought was meant for us. And then I told him we're literally going against two cheaters. But he's like, no, it was meant for the other team. I was like, alright, cool. that kind of ruined. Like we were having good vibes up to that point.
Yeah, even in the games we were losing, because it was a comp session. Even in the games we were losing, we were still like they were close, so we were like high energy still. You know, we're like, oh, yeah, you know, that was a tough loss, but it was at least close. You know, let's queue in for another one. After that, I don't think any of us really wanted to queue. Like we still queued into a game, but like the moment we got a win, we just ended it there. We're like, all right, end off on a win. Let's get out of here.
Yeah.
Pretty terrible vibes.
The next match was really, I don't know. Like it's like it literally proves how broken Roadhog is right now, because they were playing Ryan, and we literally we wiped them. It was 3-0, nothing. Like it was easy, and then he just switched to Ryan to Roadhog, and literally we couldn't do anything against them. Like we had counters to the
Roadhog and Kiriko.
Yeah, and we literally couldn't compete. Like the only reason we won is because for some reason the tank went back to Ryan, and then literally the first. It was just a repeat of the first round again. But
yeah.
Roadhog is kind of stupid.
Yeah, Roadhog is insane. One thing we forgot to mention was it Friday? What day was it? I honestly forget. One of these days, we all hopped in a Discord and watched like 3 movies or something like that, right? Yeah, we watched 3 movies, and that's what we're here today on the podcast for. And I know the listeners are probably like, how are you going to review 3 movies in one episode? Like, it feels like some movies are going to not get like proper reviews, but then it's like, it kind of goes back to when we did the Prey and Parasite dual review, and it's like, there was just like one movie that we preferred over the others that would get a majority of the time, and the other 2 would be like, not so much, you know.
I feel like we should start with Barbarian, because that one's gonna go by quickly.
Yeah, so the 3 movies we watched were Barbarian, Bullet Train, and Whiplash, right?
Yep.
Yeah, those were the 3 movies. So we started off with Bullet Train. It was just Gio, Dom, and I, and then we watched Barbarian with our other friend, and then they also put on Whiplash, because I don't think... Dom, did you ever see Whiplash before?
I have not. No. I've only seen like clips, like edit, but not the entire movie. No.
Yeah, so we watched that because Dom and I had never seen it, and then I think Barbarian's like a new one or something like that. I don't know. Yeah. But, so, we're starting off with Barbarian because it was probably the weakest of the 3, and it was like... I don't know, Joe, you start off because I remember you had like a good explanation for like how this movie went.
Okay, so just like to preface it, a lot of people have been hyping up the movie because it's 2022 release. It's horror, and then there's like a massive twist in the story, right? And I was expecting something like very like dark, maybe even gruesome at some points, because the title is Barbarian, and you know barbarians were like very ruthless warriors, whatever. So I thought that would play into the whole thing. But at the beginning, the first part of the movie, it's kind of a slow start with most. It's kind of like how most horror films are nowadays. Is they need to like introduce the characters, I don't know, form some sort of attachment with the audience. So it was a very slow start. There's like a man and a woman. They both rent the same house by mistake, and because of the weather and because of how bad the neighborhood is, they're like forced to stay together. But it's like it's at first it's kind of awkward because the guy's really awkward and the girl's kind of like unsure of whether or not she should stay. But they sit down, have some wine, they start talking, good vibes only. And then others, I don't want to like say the entire story, but like things happen, and then they find this hidden passage underground. The guy goes in first because he's like, the girl goes in first, she finds it, and then the guy goes in after her to see what it was. But then he finds a different passage that goes even further underneath the house, and then he goes by himself. So the girl's all scared, goes in after him, and then the guy, dude, that jump scare really got me. So the guy comes out crawling from the darkness, and personally, I hate things that crawl. I hate it so much. So it really got me. Like, I don't care. It was a good jump scare. It's not like, I'm a wussy or whatever. It was a good jump scare in my opinion. But then the guy's like, yo, we have to get out of here because something bit me. Something bit my leg. And then it's like, what are you talking about? It's like, yo, we gotta get out, and then they start tussling at each other, and then that's when the plot twist is revealed, that there's like this huge, grotesque woman who's been living there for God knows how long. And after that point, boom, we cut back to the third protagonist, I guess you could say, or AJ or RJ, whatever, I don't remember his name.
AJ.
And he's like this celebrity or like this CEO or whatever. I don't know.
I think he was an actor.
Oh, he was an actor. Okay, so he got accused of assaulting a woman, and his career is in shambles. He needs money because his financial company or whatever is letting him go because he doesn't have the funds to pay for them anymore. So then he's going through it, and then he goes to the same house where the other two people were at to try to see how much value he could get out of it, after selling it. And that's when he finds the house, the passage, and he's completely clueless to any potential danger because he's like, oh, dude, more, there's more area. I'm gonna measure it out, add it to the property value, get more money out of this, and then he ends up going until he finds. What did he find? I think he finds the room where the grotesque woman sleeps in, and then he keeps going, and then eventually he falls into a pit, and then the first lady that we saw is somehow still alive, and he tells him to shut up because if he gets all like anxious and like angry, then the woman gets angry, and then the woman gets violent, and then blah blah blah, so on and so forth, and then the ending, which is completely absurd. So anyways, that's pretty much the plot of the story summarized. Okay, so in my opinion, the first part of the story up to like the first cut before we go to AJ was really good. It was really building up like the plot. It was building up to the plot twist, and that made it even more impactful because we're like, okay, so we have edgy dude, very awkward. He's trying to get the girl to drink stuff. Goes worry that neighborhood, whatever. Okay, who's the villain here? Like, who is bad guy? Trying to figure that out. And then like, okay, so then after they find the underground stuff, you're like, oh, okay, we're going into like the second, like the rising action of the story, I guess. And then when you get the grotesque woman attacking, I don't remember his name. What was his name? Keith? I think his name was Keith.
Yeah, I think it was.
Yeah, it's like, oh, dude, what is this? Is this the Barbarian of the story? And it was really good. But then after that point, now we know what's down there. We know what the evil is of the story. We know the horror aspect of it, and it was very good because like you would not expect that ever. But then afterwards, when we switch to AJ, it's kind of like the same. Like we know what's down there, and we know that at some point AJ is gonna wind up down there too. And I even said it while watching it, you're even more anxious this time because you know what's down there and you know what's waiting for him if he goes down there. But the thing that kind of like went that like it didn't that like the payoff wasn't as good the second time around than it was the first time because you know what's down there, and when it actually does happen, it's kind of like the twist of the story that what was the girl's name? I don't know, that the girl is still alive. It's kind of like, oh, she's still alive, but it's not the same as it was in the first part where you found the grotesque woman. So it's kind of like kind of like minus points, I guess you could say, for the second reveal. And then just from that point on, the story just kind of collapsed into like absurdity. Like they managed to get out, or one of them manages to get out, and then the other stuff happens, and then they try to escape from the house. They go to the water tower with a homeless guy who said that they were. And then the barbarian woman, who was just hit by a car, manages to push the car back, break through a wall, like a brick wall. She manages to break through a brick wall, rip the homeless guy's arm off, and start beating the homeless guy with it. And then the other two are like, oh, goddamn, we gotta get out of here. So they start running, and they're like, oh, let's go up, verticality, high ground advantage or whatever. And then the guy has a gun on him, and this guy, who's a complete idiot, starts fumbling it, drops it onto the stairway where the monster's coming up to them. Now they have no way of defending themselves. So this guy's like, yo, big brain, I'm gonna throw the lady off of the water tower because the monster thinks that she's the baby, does it, and then the monster's like, no, my baby, and then she flings herself off of the water tower, somehow manages to completely ignore physics and somehow get the girl, protect her from the fall, to the point where the lady survives. And then the guy's like, he runs down the stairs. He's like, "Yo, I'm sorry. It's the only thing I could do." And then the monster gets out, rips his eyes off, splits his skull in half. And then the girl's like, "Oh, my baby," whatever she said. And then the lady gets the gun, shoots the monster in the head. That's the end of the movie. I've never seen such a stupid ending in my life. That completely ruined the film for me. And I don't know, it didn't live up to the hype that everyone was saying. Like the first part, if you ended after the first part, maybe make it like a short film, boom, 10 out of 10. You did well. You're like, what the hell happened? Cliffhanger ending, you're good. The fact that they literally recycled the first part with a second character, and then with the ending that literally, I don't know, I've never seen an ending that is such a weird ending, dude. I don't understand how the guy could be like writing the story and be like, okay, then the monster throws herself down, survives, the lady survives too, gets up, rips the guy's head off, blah, 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 shoots her in the face, ending. I don't know how someone like was reading that, like, oh, dude, that's going to be a good ending. No, it's not. It's absurd. But that's just my opinion. I kind of rambled on, but yeah. It's just very absurd and weird and peculiar, and all the words synonymous to that. What did you guys think, by the way?
What did you think of the movie, Dom? I want to hear you.
The movie itself, it seemed like a pretty good. I'm pretty sure this is an indie film, right? This is an indie film, kind of, sort of. Seemed like the budget to have. Anyways, yeah, probably more likely. I thought that the imagery used for the looks for the Barbarian herself was not as crazy as I thought it would be. It's literally just the figure of a grotesque woman who's just aged very poorly and now is just insane, like primitively insane. But aside from that, the overall story, I really like Tessa's character a lot. As the main protagonist, it was pretty cool. Seeing the dude from Dodgeball getting killed instantly at the end with his head being snapped open was pretty odd to see, I guess, considering despite the amount of like many accidents and mistakes that were caused in the film, for example, one of the characters like dropping their weapon at like the most crucial moment in time. I just feel like it's kind of just stupid for the plot, you know. Like if how would you say? Never mind. But anyways, I feel like the story itself could have had avoided many of the tragedies that were caused. Like at the beginning, if the couple, Tess and the other guy, if they just simply left without the guy saying, "Oh no, I have to go check," or else I don't believe you. It's so stupid. Like you would just regardless if you believe them or not, the way they sound like, the way they're telling you to not go, why would you still go? And the guy went and he got himself killed. The plot line with the Barbarian's creation is honestly pretty depressing, and I feel like that story in it of itself is actually not a true story, but it can maybe unfortunately relate to like some people who are born under like that line of ancestry, which actually it's honestly kind of sad. But I mean that's just the reality of for some things, for some people, it's, depressing seeing that still happen in this modern time. What else? The overall transitions between scenes and just the plot line is pretty okay as well. I like how I like the little plot twist that Gio's mentioned when we get like a good 30 minutes, like 20, 25 minutes into the movie, and then we see that it's not the boyfriend of Tess who becomes like the bad guy. It's the Barbarian who just appears within the dark, screaming as Tess shines a light, and then he's like, whoa, so scary. And then we all would have believed, oh shoot, guess what? It's a blackout. We would assume Tess would have died, but no, Tess survived in that small little hole, drinking whatever liquid that was in that that bottle. Not gonna lie, that bottle scene with the little hairs poking out was
disgusting.
Dude, don't talk about it, man, please.
Very disgusting.
It was interesting.
It was not interesting. It was disgusting.
It was sort of interesting.
I don't know, but I kind of agree with Gio's sentiment that, like, if they had cut it off at the blackout part, like, it could have been one of those cool short films with, like, an open ending for people to speculate. But then they continue the story, and it's like, I don't know, it's like, I just kind of didn't connect with the movie after that point, Like, a lot of it was just, like, I don't know, like, you obviously, like, there's obviously the anticipation of them getting out from that area. But then it's like, there's still a lot of, like, stupid stuff, like freaking AJ wanting to keep measuring and get all the square footage. It's like, bro, no one's gonna buy this house once they hear about all this,
Yeah.
And plus, what does all that extra square footage even matter when most of it is just a long hallway,
Yeah. It was like, thinking about it, there's like a lot of things that we could say, like from a social standpoint, seeing how I don't feel like mentioning it because like it's like it's not what I should like. Can I like I don't. Jack, can you pause it so I could ask you?
Yeah, but what would your guys' final ratings for the movie be?
I would give it like a 6 out of 10.
I would give it like a 6. It wasn't the best. It got some good spooks, but it ain't a classic.
Wait, Dom, what did you get? Sorry, I blanked out right now.
A 6.
I think a 6, like anywhere between a 6 and a 7 is probably fair.
Yeah.
All right. Which movie you guys want to talk about next?
Let's do Train. What's it called?
Bullet Train.
Bullet Train. Yeah, I was about to say Train to Busan. But yeah, let's do that one next because I really enjoyed watching that movie.
All right. So, Bullet Train was... When did it come out? All I know is, what's it called? My brother and I went to watch this in theaters when it came out. Whoops. Sorry, I pressed the wrong button. Yeah, my brother and I went to go see this when it came out because we thought it looked interesting based off of the trailers. I guess the quick sort of summary is that Ladybug is the alias name for this assassin who's the main character of the movie, played by Brad Pitt, and he's basically assigned to recover this briefcase on a bullet train that's heading to was it Tokyo? No, it did start off in Tokyo. I forget, but
I think Kyoto.
Oh, Kyoto's where the final stop. Okay, but so he's supposed to get on and recover this briefcase because he's filling in for another assassin who was supposed to do it, but they called out sick. And yeah, this came out in August 5th, 2022. My brother and I went to watch it. Has a bunch of different big names in it. But yeah, that's kind of the main plot. And as the movie progresses, he discovers that there's basically multiple people on this train that have it out for this briefcase. There's these set of twins that are supposed to... They're the ones that are in possession of the briefcase, and they're supposed to bring the briefcase and the person they're working for, they're supposed to bring his son there as well. And then there's a guy who we learn about like in the beginning, like his son was pushed off a building, and he's on this bullet train to meet the person who did it to his son, and then you find out that person's on this train to get not only the briefcase, but to take it to the guy who hired the twins for the mission so that she can kill him. And there's obviously stuff that happens in between, but that's just a quick sort of summary plot. Like, there's a bunch of people on this train that are out for this briefcase and have different motives and have different stories to them. What do you guys think of the movie?
Don, do you want to go first?
I'll go. Okay, so I think this movie was. I didn't get to see the movie until. Well, when did the movie release?
It released in August. We watched it like last week, I think.
It released in August.
Yes.
Holy. Okay. All right. So the movie, I enjoyed it. I thought the transition of like character introduction was pretty cool. What I enjoyed most is that it didn't waste time on flashbacks and like background storytelling. Like, it went quick. It went fast. It didn't some sort of a bit of comedic ways. I really enjoyed the roles of Lemon and Tangerine. I feel like that duo was like just like it just felt right. It felt perfect. Like two British. I'm assuming they're both British, or one's British, one's Irish. But anyways, those two are absolute legends in their acting. Like and it felt well. Like every line spoken in every just majority of it was either perfectly improvised or was just written so well that the characters and overall the actors were able to speak the lines just in a quick fashion without skipping and beating. I feel like that was absolutely perfect for the film. Brad Pitt was also like a good with a bit of a comedic relief whenever he's like I guess not breaking the fourth wall per se, but like seeming very calm about situations when they're very intense. Like when he's going against the one who like who poisoned the what was it? The bride during that one scene. He was like super calm throughout the entire time when literally his life was in danger of being hit with like a poison that would kill him in 30 seconds. And like it's just those scenes itself of seeing comic relief and like calmness during a time of panic is so cool. And how would you say it? I just think overall the story, I kind of got a little bit confused because there were just so many people to take account of and not to forget the names. But I think the movie constantly keeps shifting to each character equally, so as for you to not forget. What I did like was a little plot twist at the end with Carver, in which Carver at the end is displayed as this character that we're not supposed to know. At the start of the movie, it's just, oh wow, this guy Carter is just being replaced by Brad Pitt, and then it was all the way until the end of the movie. This guy Carter was technically the cause for the domino effect for all the events that have been going on, and it's just it's crazy. I'm like, oh wow, this guy Carter is great. But anyways, I enjoyed it. It was pretty cool. Some scenes were pretty depressing, honestly, and I don't know if I want to say it. I don't know if we should say it. I'll leave that for you guys to state any spoilers. But anyways, I enjoyed it. For a rating, I'm not sure what I should give it for a rating. Should we wait a little bit later for rating?
Wait a little bit later.
I want you guys to say your opinions. But I thoroughly enjoyed it. How about you guys?
Yeah.
That movie, in my opinion, was really good. I really enjoyed all the humor in that movie. Was really like up my alley. Like as Dominic said, Lemon and Tangerine are by far the goats of the movie. Their back and forth bickering was so hilarious to watch. And with with Tangerine's constant talk of the Thomas the engine. And like all about all the characters, which played a huge role in the movie. It wasn't just to be funny. It was, dude, it was so fun to watch. Brad Pitt as Ladybug was really good. His portrayal of the character was really well done. It was more of the laid back kind of guy. The guy just constantly wants to do his job and go home. That was really fun to see. All of the other ones, like the Hornet, the Poison Lady. And Bad Bunny's, feature in the movie was kind of, it was nice to see. but because it wasn't like, oh, let's waste 10 minutes of the film talking about this guy's entire story, so then in the next 2 minutes he could just die. It wasn't like that. It was kind of like, all right, let's do like a quick 1 minute montage of who this guy is and why he's relevant to the story, and then killed him off. And that was like perfect. No time was wasted, as Dominic said, on stupid character backgrounds like in most films or TV shows that too. What else is there? Oh, dude, the other guy, the father of the, what was his name? I have no idea.
The father of the Asian dude. Right, let me look up his name.
Yeah, that actor, whenever he's in a movie, it's gonna be good. I really enjoy it. Like, whenever he's on screen, he's such a good actor. Besides that, whatever.
Kimura.
Yeah, him. Like, I don't know, I can't really say much else because for me it's like a very obvious rating. But yeah, everything about the movie was really well done. The editing was really cool. I really liked how fast-paced the editing was in certain parts of the film. So the choreography of the fights was really well done too, except the one that was kind of like lackluster was the one that Dominic mentioned, Ladybug versus the Hornets. It didn't feel like an actual fight because of how, like, there was no risk involved at all. Like, you weren't like anxious at all. Like, maybe that was kind of like the point of it, but I felt like that one was kind of like weird. The one with Bad Bunny was also kind of weird, but Bad Bunny's not he's not a professional, so you can't really, look him down for it too much. What else? What other characters? I didn't like, the innocent girl, whatever her code name was. I'm not a big fan of her character just because she's really annoying, and because of her, certain people ended up the way they did. The father of the little kid who got pushed off, his performance was really good too. I enjoyed his character. Like, I wanted, like, not know more, but just kind of like see him on screen more, like, have more of an active role in the story. The ending was I feel like the ending was perfect for the movie. It was kind of as ridiculous as everything else. It wasn't like out of place, like Barbarian, for example. So yeah, solid film.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the film as well. Basically, like how Dom and you were saying, the basically there was a lot of it that just hit on all points, especially like the comedy. Everyone that's seen this movie pretty much agrees Tangerine and Lemon were like the best parts of it just because of how good and funny their characters were, and I don't know, to me it's like there was a lot of moments in this movie where like the comedy just didn't feel forced in a way, like, and the funny part is like a lot of those moments you see and it's obviously like they're trying to force like a funny moment in it, but like it doesn't come off as forced in a way. Like, it just came off so natural. And, like, I don't know what makes it different from, like, other movies that try and accomplish that. But, like, it just hit on all levels that most movies can't, Like, all the different, like, scenes. Obviously, like, the one where Tangerine and Ladybug are fighting. And then the lady who delivers the snacks to all the trains comes by. And, freaking Ladybug makes Tangerine pay for a water of his that's like $10 and he's complaining about it. Oh gosh, the funniest part to me that like I was telling Dom after we watched the movie is just the fact that they gave like every single person like some type of backstory, and of course they did it all so quickly, and so it's like you see this throughout the entire movie, and then what happens towards the end, you get the backstory of a water bottle that played a pivotal role in the movie. And you get a backstory of how the water bottle even got on the train. And it's like, it's something you don't expect to see. But when it happens, it's like, if I were just to tell you that, you probably think, man, that's so stupid. We're getting a backstory for a water bottle. But the way that they placed it in the movie and the way they told it was like, it was too funny, and like Dom says, can't be repeated enough. They didn't waste time, and I think that's what my brother and I enjoyed the most about this movie is that like it just went by. It's a 2-hour movie, and yet they literally waste no time throughout it. Like they don't waste time showing you all these different backstories to explain, Ladybug's backstory. Tangerine and Lemon, the Prince, Kimura, you know, they just show it to you real quickly. And like, you know, I just loved how quickly they established these characters and their motives, you know, like Kimura's on this train because his son was pushed off. Ladybug's here because someone called off from his job. Tangerine and Lemon are here to get this briefcase and deliver the son. The Prince is here to kill the White Death, who's the one that's like planning all this, you know, like or planning Lemon and Tangerine being on there, you know. And I just liked how much that they did all of this, you know, where it was like it's fast paced, but you're also getting, you know, you're still getting detailed explanations to everyone's motives, why they're here, but they're doing it at such a quick pace that, you know, it doesn't slow the film down to a halt. And there's like very rare moments in this movie where like things actually felt slow and down, like slowed down in a bit. Like it was constantly fast paced, and there's only really like one or two parts maybe where like it slows down, and it's spoilers for why they slow down. But then like they immediately pick up right after, you know, and it's always so good. I love this movie. It's so fun. It was definitely one of my top movies from this year for sure. And I don't know, everyone played a phenomenal role, you know. The annoying innocent little girl plays her role of just being super annoying throughout the movie, especially because of how her decisions lead to other things occurring. And I think I mean, you can't really call it underrated because it's like the whole premise of the movie, but like the whole thing of Brad Pitt's character just having like, it's insane luck for him, but it's terrible luck for other people, you know. And like he keeps seeing it as a bad thing when it's like he's only seeing it as a bad thing because he's trying to be a good person, but it's like the people that he fights end up like dying in like hilarious and quick ways, and he's complaining because he's like he wants to take the peaceful route, but like the people watching, you know, we're always like, why are you complaining? You're winning these fights. You're not dying, you know. But he sees it as a bad thing because he's trying to change who he is, even though his job is literally being an assassin.
The one thing I want to point out is, you see how when we were introduced to the White Death, how when he was going to kill the leader of the gang that he joined, when he did like the revolver thing on his arm and then he shot, dude, that was so cold, man. Whoever thought of that was genius. That was so... Dude, when I saw that, I was like, damn, this dude is on another level.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that. And it's not really a spoiler for the movie, but when he's fighting Kimura's dad at the end, like on the train, because obviously he's waiting for him at the end of the line, as we mentioned, so it's not really a spoiler. I just like the part where he's like, what does he say? One more time for old sakes, and he does it again, but this time he goes to shoot the old guy first. It's a blank, and then he does it again for himself. It's a blank, and then you see like when he does that final time, you see the bullet slowly going in. I thought that was like another cool scene too.
Yeah, it's like the entire movie was just hit after hit, no misses.
Yeah, definitely. What would your guys' final ratings be for this movie?
I would give it a 10 out of 10 without question.
Yeah, 10 out of 10.
Yeah, I'd give it 10 out of 10 too. It was funny. It was amazing. And I just remember after watching it, I literally walked out the theater and looked at my brother and said that was better than most of like the movies we get now, especially like I used it as a little shot. I was like, it is better than most Marvel movies, you know.
Yeah.
It especially in the comedy department, it got it well, you know. Like I said, it just didn't feel forced. It was definitely a 10 out of 10. But with about a minute remaining, you guys said you're down for part 2, right?
Yep.
All right. So thank you all for joining for this episode. Tune into part 2, where we discuss the final movie we watched, which is the 2014 film Whiplash. I believe it came out in 2014. I'll correct myself in the next episode if I'm wrong. But thank you for joining for this one. Tune in to part 2.